Oh, snap! Snap!
The world is finally waking up to the crap that's baked into and sprayed on kibble dog food. No longer can commercial pet food manufacturers fool us with pretty pictures and false promises. This is the raw dog food truth. The view and opinions expressed on this podcast are not intended to replace medical advice. Before starting any raw diet, do research, ask lots of questions, and consult your vet. Well, hello, raw feeders. I'm DeDe Moffett, CEO of RawDogFoodandCompany, where your pet's health is our business, and we're friends like my friend, Dr. Andi. Well, we don't let friends feed kibble now, do we, Dr. Andi?
We do not. We do not.
Hey, I want to tell everybody, get over to Rumble. Rumble is where Raw Dog Food and Company has so many of these little short videos that and the full podcast as well. But they're over there. We've got quite a collection. And so these little snippets, like the little snippets won't take a lot of your time. 1 minute, 2 minute. The one thing I have to complain about Rumble. I love Rumble, Dr. Andi, but the one thing I have to complain about it is when you have a long video on there, they have 2 commercials. I mean, they're constantly doing these commercials, and I get it. Maybe they have to have their, they
got to pay the bills too.
They do, but it irritates me. So our short ones are not going to get interrupted. So that's great. Like these, 1-2 minute videos. And you're going to see a lot of myself and Dr. Andi over there. So get over to Rumble. It is Raw Dog Food and Company. You will find us because our faces will be right there. Hey, Dr. Andi, let's talk about joints. And not the kind you smoke here in Colorado.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I don't either.
Don't know anything about it, actually.
I don't either.
So yes, the musculoskeletal joints. Yes, that I do know a lot about.
Well, you know what? You sent out this great email. And here's the thing. Dr. Andi does send out great information on her email. And that is over at animalmagiccare.com. But you said the spine is full of joints. And it's amazing to me that you got to know all these, right? You got to know all the, you got to know all these
I don't
joints.
I don't know, but yes. Yeah. But I don't think people really realize that it's articulations, it's joints that cover your spinal cord, and they have to move. And it's actually quite fascinating to take a look at a spine if you ever have the opportunity.
A dog spine or a human spine?
Human spine. They're very similar looking, even a horse spine. They have facet joints that meet, and they all move, which is called articulation, and allow that spinal cord some movement in there when your dog is running to catch a ball, running to jump on the couch. I mean, all of that has to move, and the nervous system is in charge of that coordination.
How in the world do you know which one of these joints need to be adjusted? I just don't even understand it. There's a lot to it.
There's a lot of nuance to it. Yes. Well, so when I was in chiropractic school, we were taught motion palpation, which means the person, because chiropractic school is only for people so far. I did a post-certification program in the animals, but working on people, they would sit there or they would lay there and you like smush the bones down, right? And you're feeling for a spot that doesn't move as well as the other spots.
Oh.
Okay. Well, when you were first doing that, couldn't tell. And we had this one awesome instructor. He's like, okay, go get a yellow pages, which would be hard to do these days, but they had the really thin paper. And he's like, stick a hair under there and feel it with 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page. How many pages can you go until you don't feel it anymore? And you keep practicing. So, so there's a lot of tactile change in my hands and fingers over the years. And that's part of how chiropractors just get better. They just keep doing it and keep forming new neurologic pathways in their own body to feel these changes. And then you get an idea. Okay, a 2-year-old is going to be a lot smushier than a 20-year-old, who's going to be a lot smushier than a 60-year-old. So then you have to change your sense to what age you're working on. Same thing with dogs, right? A 2-year-old Chihuahua is going to feel different than a 2-year-old Bernese Mountain Dog, which is going to feel much different than a 10-year-old Great Dane. And so I have an idea going in based on age approximation, what it should be feeling, right? They should be super bouncy when they're super young. They should be somewhat restricted when they're older. Now, and then sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, the whole lumbar spine, which is your low back on a dog, is like a 2x4. It is not moving at all. So I want motion in that spine. What that means is people don't know, right? Like you're like, what? Motion in the spine? What? Huh? But that's that motion palpation. And I actually stress each joint and it should bounce a little bit under my fingers. And it's very, very subtle.
So what causes these older dogs to be stiffer than the younger dogs? What is it? What happens with
We get
age?
joint breakdown. We get arthritis in the joints. We get collagen breakdown. We get joint space minimization. It actually changes as it does in us. We deteriorate over time.
No.
Yep. Afraid so.
Ugh.
And then what factors cause all that can range dramatically, from genetics to early trauma to, their conformation, they're just butt high, their conformation's not great. Again, a genetic thing. They play hard with their sibling dog all their lives. Maybe one dog of that pair has a benefit from it and one didn't benefit from it. I don't know. So every time my hands go on an animal, every time it's different.
What is butt high again?
The rear end is just higher than the front end. So there's even more weight pressing down on that front end.
And then you have a stiff neck?
Possibly. You could have numerous things from it. But that's a conformation issue that came from probably a parent somewhere. Or it came from early spay neutering or, whatever. But sometimes we just manage bad conformation. Just like with some people, like my husband's feet flare out, toes out. His parents actually should have broken his bones and straightened those out.
Ouch.
when he was younger. Yeah, they actually should have, because the stress on his knees and hips it's worn out exponentially fast. And that was just a conformation. We don't call it conformation in people, but an issue.
So conformation in pets means this way you're born. Is that right?
Yes. It's also the fancy dog ring show, right? They call that a conformation show too, because they're looking at how the dog is moving and put together. So what's their conformation like? That's why puppies that are purebred going to show homes get evaluated, and sometimes the breeder picks where they go because they think they're going to grow up to look this way and move this way. And if you have a very good breeder who knows the breed really well, they're usually pretty good at it.
And can you fix that as a puppy? Can you change the conformation because they're kind of malleable at that time? Have you ever had a breeder?
I like to think so. I actually have a breeder that brings in all of her puppies to me between 6 and 8 weeks, and has for, I don't even know, 8, 9, 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And those puppies have always come out where they have a good conformation and they're not butt high?
At 6 or 8 weeks, you're not going to see that.
Okay.
That's when they're kind of in their teenage months. They're, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, depending if it's a giant, a little later. So we don't see that. So I do motion palpation. We've talked about muscle testing. I use muscle testing on these puppies because most of them are moving just fine and tumbling around just fine and biting their litter mate just fine, right? But sometimes we'll find a lot of jaw stuff and we fix a lot of that. And there's a lot of proprioception information up there that who knows what that could have caused down the line. Did I fix it all? Did I fix some of it? It's kind of like, I don't know, but we're doing it. She would bring dog, she'll hand me some and they're like, this one cries all the time. And usually there is something wrong.
Oh.
Usually there is some subluxation, there's some rotation somewhere and it's bothering them. Sometimes the puppy on the bottom of the pile has the most wrong. Sometimes it doesn't. Like sometimes I ask which birth order. Because if like most of them are doing pretty good. They have a couple things here and there, no big deal. And then there's one that's just like, what is going on here? So many patterns, so many subluxations. Oh, that one was firstborn and got stuck in the canal, or it was it's usually lastborn. It's usually the one that's been crushed at the back end,
shoved up there.
Yes,
It's
and
crowded.
by the time it comes out, it's like, and so trauma is birth. So all puppies should be checked out, even if they are looking just fine, because most of them are.
Well, that's amazing that. And does she report back that once this puppy gets adjusted, he doesn't cry as much?
Yeah, generally. Yeah.
Wow. So that's a good little tip there, folks. If you have puppies and they're crying a lot, maybe they need to be adjusted, right?
Oh, I had one. It was a Bernedoodle. And the dog would lay on mom's feet, puppy, like weeks, months old, lay on her feet, crying, like just crying, and would cry constantly. So she went to a dog trainer who I was working with at the time, and the dog trainer sent her to me. Her jaw and muscles of mastication and upper cervicals were so subluxed and needed adjustments. Later that day, she's like, the thing stopped crying for the first time in weeks.
Wow.
It wouldn't chew on anything. It was having problems eating, like food would fall out. And it was painful. And then I saw that dog pretty much every other month until they moved out of state. She loved me, like insane, right? She was always such a handful. But anyway, yeah, like just constant, like nobody knew what was wrong. Like, why are we just laying here crying, and had to touch mom all the time? And all of that shifted. I think it was 2-3 adjustments.
Isn't that amazing? And yet that can be so overlooked, right?
Oh,
especially with folks that aren't aware that there are pet chiropractors. And I'm shocked because I've had that conversation with folks just recently, and they was like, I didn't know there were pet chiropractors.
Yeah.
It's sort of like people that say, I didn't know there was raw food diets. I'm like, okay. But then again, Dr. Andi, I'm sure there's lots of things out there that we don't know about.
Right.
There's lots of weird stuff going on out there that we have no idea.
Right.
That's
we live in
now.
in this microcosm. And so we're like, how do you not know? But
right.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's amazing. And if you have a dog, if you have 2 dogs, right, that wrestle and play all the time, I would say getting them adjusted is really, really important, right? Yes. Like Lozzie will start coming over. As a matter of fact, today we have an appointment with you. Lozzie is now 5 years old. She's been adjusted once by you. We had Austin there, but now we're going every month now. Right. We're going to be in there every month. And I think it's really important because she's a pretty high, working dog.
Yes.
Right.
She does a lot.
And so, she runs like a banshee, she's doing all the training and all that kind of stuff. And so I think it's really important to get her adjusted. And I just want to do everything possible to keep her as healthy as possible, keeping the toxins out, doing the right water, doing whole food supplements, feeding a raw diet. She hikes every day. So she's outside doing that job. And I really want to see how long I can keep her with me. How healthy can I keep this dog? Because as Dr. Cowan has said, we don't wait long enough to see how the body, if we do it right, will last and how it will heal itself. Right?
Yeah.
And I really want to see that because I talk about that all the time. We see it in our pets, but I want to take it up another level. And I think doing pet chiropractic work is greatly important. But just like what you said, they can't really talk to us. I mean, they can, but we can miss it. We can miss it.
We generally do and then it's really bad. Right. I mean, unless like my long-term clients that have been here with numerous dogs over the last 20 years, and I have some of them, they're damn good. Right. Yeah, that it tripped just a little bit getting in the car the other day. That's what will set them off. Like they get really good at what's going on with their dog. And people always get good if they're in here enough talking with me and I'm, talking about what we're doing with their animal. But yeah, most wait until they're dead lame. Right? Oh, yeah, I think stuff's been going on for about 6 months, but finally, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't know, and I get it, because they don't know
Yeah.
really where to go, right? And if they go into the vet with, oh, they double step hopping into the truck. What? Okay, what's the problem, right? Like you need to bring veterinarians big symptoms so they can throw big pills at it, which doesn't fix the problem anyway. But you can't go in with this subtle stuff. The
Right.
clients that go in with this subtle stuff, I'm like, well, how do you feel wasting $1,000?
Feels great. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, they're like, well, and I go, they gave you this, this, and this, didn't they? Well, yeah, and it's not any better. Well, no. I'm like, yeah. And if they're regular clients, then they get told, why didn't you text me?
That's right. Why don't you sign up with a consult with Dr. Andi right before your dog gets dead lame? Okay.
Mhm.
You want to, if your dog is, you noticing something, take a look, watch them. Are we sitting pretty? We've talked about that
Yes.
before, right? Are we sitting
Yes.
pretty? I talked to somebody the other day and they were like, my dog can't really sit down right. And I said, you need to see Dr. Andi. She had
Yep.
seen another chiropractor and she was like,
Okay.
well, I've seen another chiropractor and it really didn't work. And I'm like,
That
yeah,
one
well,
time.
yeah, I think maybe yeah. And I was like, but different people
Mhm.
are different in how they approach something,
Mhm.
so could somebody have missed something? Could they have not? So if it's not working, let's do something else. Right. If it's not, if it's working, why is it not working? Right. And
Mhm.
I say this to people all the time, in their diets, in all different types of things, you know, especially the folks who go from kibble bag to kibble bag to kibble bag. I don't care how many times you've switched up your kibble bag. It's the same kibble bag, you see. And so the trick is to get rid of the kibble bag.
Mhm.
That'd be the
Yes,
trick,
that would be
right?
the trick.
That
Yes.
would do the trick. All right,
Yes.
you can get over and work with Dr. Andi. It's real super simple. It's at animalmagiccare.com, animalmagiccare.com. She can take a look at your pet. She can take a look at a video. You could take a look at x-rays. She can help you out in so many different ways. You really have to have someone that's out of the box of the traditional health protocol. Okay? Got to get
You
out of
said
that.
that very nicely.
Thank you. I'm trying, it's one of my goals to be nicer maybe in 2024.
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
no fun.
It may only last a week or so, Dr.
Okay.
Andi,
Okay.
though,
Okay.
you know.
If it lasts any longer, I'm going to start worrying.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, everybody, get your dog on a species appropriate diet. All you have to do is get over to RawDogFoodandCompany.com where we have your food, your bones, your supplements, your treats. And we've got great friends and a great team like Dr. Andi. So get over to animalmagiccare.com and get over to RawDogFoodandCompany.com where your pet's health is our business. What, Dr. Andi?
Friends don't let friends feed kibble.
That's why you're my friend. Okay,
Yes.
we'll see you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.